What's up, everybody watching on the computer, smartphone, tablet, or TV? This is Andy, and yes, we have made it to the biggest wrestling weekend of the entire year. We have made it to Wrestlemania weekend. So, today is Friday, April 5th, 2019, and we have Takeover New York in the NXT division, which is pretty much, I like to call minor league wrestling, but it's pretty good minor league wrestling. Trust me. If you watch NXT on Wednesdays, you know what I'm talking about. It's awesome. I just wish that if I'm ever in Orlando, I get to go to an NXT taping. But nevertheless to say, tonight is TakeOver. It will be taking place at the Barclays Center. The grandest stage in the mall will be taking place on Sunday at MetLife Stadium, which is the 7th, WrestleMania 35. Quickly want to mention that tonight, TakeOver New York will start at around 7, and WrestleMania 35 will actually start off with the kickoff show at 5 on WWE Network and YouTube. Then it will move over to YouTube, my bad, USA at 6 on Sunday, and then it will be on the WWE Network at 7. So you have to be subscribed to WWE Network if you want to watch WrestleMania 35. I know a couple pay TV providers still carry it, but it's like $60. I wouldn't recommend it. Just do the $9.99 thing. It's easier. Or do a 3-month or 6-month thing like I do, and you're all set to go. And thankfully, my subscription is good for another month, so at least I can watch WrestleMania on Sunday. But let's get organized here, folks. We're going to make my predictions first for TakeOver New York. And then I will make my predictions for WrestleMania 35. And all of these matches tonight for the TakeOver card are championship matches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to time everything. You want to watch NXT, I'll time it on the description. You want to skip to WrestleMania predictions, you can do that. I'll put the time card in the description below. Thankfully with my setup I can do that. But anyhow, here we go with my NXT New York predictions. First up, I think I will organize it like this. So, the first match of the night, I will go with the leadoff match, which will be the Velveteen Dream defending his North American Championship, taking on the Bro from UFC, the MMA artist known as Matt Riddle. Now, if you don't know who Matt Riddle is, again, you should be watching NXT on Wednesdays because this guy is amazing. Not only does he have a catchy theme song, I compare him and Keith Lee's theme songs to be catchy in a way, but what I like about Mr. Riddle is that he actually fights without no shoes on. He's a bare fighter. Like, his finisher involves his foot, I think. I forget the name of it at the moment, but I would like to see Matt win. That would be exciting. And what I'm annoyed is that we don't have a consistent North American champion. And the Velveteen lately, he's presenting himself more as a heel these days, but I'm sorry. I'm going to say the Velveteen Dream will defend his belt tonight. I would be very shocked if Riddle went into Brooklyn tonight and he became the new North American champion. Maybe it's Triple H, because remember, he's the one that is the programming. He pretty much controls the programming. I know William Regal is just a face, and you don't see him that often, but Triple H is the guy making all the decisions. It's possible, because I've been hearing that Triple H has high stoke for Riddle. So obviously, I was going to say, what the heck, Velveteen defends. So, next match I will go with is in the women's division. Shayna Baszler will be in a fatal 4-way match, which she's also another MMA wrestler like Ronda Rousey. But tonight she will be defending in a fatal 4-way her NXT Women's Championship against Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kairi Sane. I don't know. I saw the other day on NXT that and this is going to sound completely funny, but it could happen in the future with NXT programming. Johnny Gargano's wife. Now, why am I going to bring up Johnny Gargano's wife for a second? Well, this is very important, and again, you don't watch NXT, you should. Candice LeRae was interviewed outside of Full Sail University on, this was during NXT when they aired it on Wednesday. And they asked her, can you get a championship match? And I forget who the other women were at the moment, but because again, I'm still first starting to get into NXT, but yeah, she might be the future of the division. You never know. I mean, I like to see Bianca win, so for the heck of it, I say Bianca Belair finally gets what she deserves and she becomes the new NXT Women's Champion. What's going to happen? What? That Shayna's friends are going to help her again? That's the most realistic thing, but that might happen. Because Shayna has protection, so I forget who the other women are that protect her, but possible. But for the heck of it, I'll just say Shayna loses her belt to Bianca Belair. Alright, next up we have the NXT Tag Team Championships. The Raw Raiders, Hanson and Rowe, who first won the belts back at TakeOver Phoenix in January, will be taking on the tag team of Aleister Black and Ricochet. And we'll bring them up later on because this could be an interesting scenario. So, I like to see Aleister and Ricochet win. That would be fun and all, but in the long run, I think they're going to be on SmackDown. I think that with the TV deal, they're going to want to add a big NXT call-up to boost the ratings when Fox picks up SmackDown in September. So, the way I look at it, I'm sorry, but I think the Raw Raiders are going to defend. It's pointless that how they made Aleister and Ricochet win the Dusty Rhodes tournament, which, I could understand why they wanted them to win, because remember, DIY was only reformed because Tommaso wanted DIY to reform, but then again, it's like, I kind of wanted to see Undisputed Era winning back-to-back years, but that didn't happen. And we'll bring up the Undisputed Era in just a second because it involves their leader, Adam Cole, in just a sec, but Raw Raiders will defend tonight, and we move on. Now we have an interesting match for the UK Championship. Peter Dunne, he's been champion now for almost 2 years. Will be defending against an up-and-coming guy who I think will definitely have a future in this industry, and that is Walter. Now Walter on the UK programming, because I don't watch the whole show. I just watched the promo on NXT this past Wednesday. So pretty much, Walter looks pretty good going into the match. So I'm going to say tonight in Brooklyn, Pete Dunne's long-reigning United Kingdom Championship reign is over. And Walter will become your new UK champion. Just because, again, the build-up to it, from what I've seen online, is excellent. I think that it should be a good match. I think the fans will be involved because, remember, you have that international audience in town for the weekend because they might be going to both TakeOver tonight and then Mania on Sunday. So, just for the heck of it, I'll say Mr. Walter wins the belt. And then your closing match of the night, which definitely will be the main event. I mean, if the women are closing out, that's kind of crazy for a fatal four-way in the rookie division to, close it out. But this has to close out the show. Adam Cole will be facing Johnny Gargano for the vacant NXT Championship. Now, Adam Cole, a couple weeks ago, defeated Ricochet, Aleister Black, Matt Riddle, and who else was it? I forget at the moment. I think it was only a four-way. I don't remember at the moment. Oh, Velveteen. Right, it was Velveteen in that match. Okay. That was a couple weeks ago on NXT, but yeah, pretty much Adam Cole won that match. So now he's the number one contender. Well, second in line, because the original match was supposed to be Johnny Gargano, who turned face, which he's back as a face, thank goodness, because as a heel, he really didn't play the character very well, in my opinion. But anyhow, thank goodness Johnny Wrestling's a face again. He'll be taking on the heel, Adam Cole, even though the crowd likes saying, Adam Cole, baby! It's fun to say it, but in a way, I just want Johnny Wrestling to get the NXT Championship, because I was hoping that last year he would get that big win against Ciampa when Ciampa and Gargano were having their feud. But the sad reality is Ciampa's out with a neck injury, so he might not even be back for another 6 to 8 months from what I've heard. So 6 to 8 months, that's right around my birthday. You think about that. But needless to say, Johnny Wrestling finally gets his big win tonight. It has to be in Brooklyn. I'm sorry, it has to be in Brooklyn. Can't be anywhere else. Can't be. So I'm going to say for the heck of it, Johnny Wrestling wins the NXT Championship to close out the show tonight. So that being all said, we now move on to the WrestleMania 35 card. So right now I'm looking at this and there's 16 matches on the card right now. This is insanity. So I'll do the pre-show matches first. Andre the Giant Battle Memorial. I'll just say Braun Strowman wins it because there's a weird thing going on with him and these guys from Saturday Night Live. I forget who it is at the moment. But I'll say this. Wouldn't it be crazy if Rob Gronkowski was at MetLife Stadium and he entered the match and won the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial? That would be funny. I would like to see that. But I'm going to go with the safe pick and just say, you know what? Sorry for Michael G and Colin Jost, but I think it's going to end up where Strowman eliminates them just because they built it up that way. So now that we move on, we'll go to the women's one, the Battle Royal Trophy. And, you know, with that one, I'm going to have to say, for a funny thing, it sounds nuts to be saying this, but I think Naomi's going to win this. So I'll say Naomi wins the women's Battle Royal. I like to see Lana win it, but I don't know. I'm very happy Nikki Cross is going to be in it because, you know, I'm upset she left NXT because she was with Sanity back then, but I really don't know. I really have no more comment on that. So, now we move on to the main card. So, we'll do Tag Team Championships first. So, first up, the Usos in the SmackDown division. Just announced by WrestleMania 35 host. And this is going to sound even more funny. Alexa Bliss. She's actually hosting this. Who would have thought the 5-time Women's Champion would be hosting WrestleMania 35? But, you know, I gotta admit, 5-time champion, that's a good resume right there for her. Anyhow, yeah, she announced that Jimmy and Jey Uso have to defend their belts against Ricochet and Aleister Black, The Bar, and Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. I think it's a possibility that Ricochet and Aleister could win this. So I'll just say for the heck of it, they win because they'll lose their NXT match on purpose tonight to the War Raiders. And I think this will be good for them because then they can finally leave NXT and finally be on the SmackDown brand. So Ricochet and Aleister will win the SmackDown belts at WrestleMania 35. Now, here's something funny here. The Revival, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson taking on two guys from Long Island I'm going to be rooting for very hard because this was just announced this past Monday night on Raw. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder will be taking on the Revival. And I think this is the match that Hawkins finally ends his losing 300 plus match losing streak. It has to be now. I mean, Hawkins and Ryder would become two-time tag champions because they were already tag champions before. So he's like, you know what? Make them win it at Mania and have the stupid thing mentioned by Michael Cole end already. So your new Raw Tag Team Champions will be Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. It'll be an excellent WrestleMania moment for the both of them. And I hope it happens. You know, anything can happen at WrestleMania. That would be a good moment for me if that happened. And then we'll go to the women's division for the tag team match in there. So Boston Hug Connection, Bayley and Sasha Banks will be taking on Beth Phoenix and Natalya, the Iconics, and Nia Jackson Tamina. I think the Iconics are going to win. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. The Iconics have been in WWE for 2 years now almost. Let me think. Yeah, I think May or June is going to mark 2 years since they've joined the SmackDown roster. And honestly, it's like, you can say they're annoying, you could say that, but come on. They should at least have one moment, right? I mean, at least they show up. I respect them for that. So for the heck of it, you never know with Vince. He always likes to screw people and mess around with the card. I'll just say that the Iconics win this match and become the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Okay. Next up, we will go now to non-championship matches. So the first one I'm going to predict is AJ Styles taking on Randy Orton. It'll be a close match, but just like on SmackDown this past Tuesday, there'll be an RKO out of nowhere, and Orton will prove that he's better than AJ Styles. So Randy Orton will win that match. Now, this is a match that I think has very important dialogue for the future of the company. Shane McMahon versus The Miz in a Falls Count Anywhere match. The Miz will win because I have a theory that he'll stay face long enough to get a WWE Championship match. And I'll go into my theory about that later on, but The Miz will win that match, and we move on from there. I don't want to really go into it that much. Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin. Angle's going to win because, honestly, if he doesn't win, it'll be a joke that if it's so-called Kurt Angle's last ever match in the WWE, it'll be a joke. It'll really be a joke if Angle doesn't win that match. Now, we have Triple H taking on Batista. That's gotten some pretty good hype. Now, it's a no-holds-barred match, and if Triple H loses the match, he must retire from in-ring competition. Been there, done that. He did that against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 29. What the heck? Triple H wins. But here's the catch. I think Batista's going to stay long-term in the company. What, you don't think Batista's just going to quit? You don't think he will? Come on. I know what's happening here. Don't get fooled, folks. Don't get fooled. Batista could be Universal Champion one day. And I'm not going to get into that theory until the time comes for that. Make sure I got all the matches. Oh, right. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. It's a match for Roman to get over, so he has to win. And if he loses, I'll be very shocked. So Roman will beat McIntyre, so we don't need to get into that. So let me make sure. Yeah, I think I got every non-championship match covered. Buddy Murphy versus Tony Nese. I'm rooting for Nese because Nese is from Long Island, and in front of his home crowd, it would make sense, even though it's in New Jersey. So we'll have a new Cruiserweight champion, Tony Nese. And I'm sorry, but we had a lot of Mania matches. I was hoping at WrestleMania 33 that Austin Aries would be Cruiserweight champion. That didn't happen. We need the Cruiserweight Championship to change hands at Mania. No excuses. Oh, and it will be on the pre-show. How fantastic. Better be on USA at least. Unless they'll just put the Andre the Giant Memorial on USA. It's possible, but I don't know. Okay, so championship matches. Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio, United States belt. Samoa will defend because honestly, it's like, Rey's in it. He has a tiny body, but come on. Once Joe locks in the Kikita clutch, it's over. It's a pointless match. Bobby Lashley versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship. Bobby defends. Because honestly, they don't want Finn being a champion again. I would like to see Finn win, and if it does happen, I'll be happy. But I'm realistic. I don't think Balor's going to win. Even with the paint. But then again, I forgot, he's in the paint. Right, the demon's coming back. So I think, yeah, it's possible Finn can win. So what the heck? I'll change my mind. Balor Demon will win. If regular Balor shows up, then he loses. Plain simple. Alright, let me make sure I'm organizing this correctly. Just making sure. Okay, yeah, so I'll predict the WWE Championship match next. Daniel Bryan taking on Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston's incredible rise has been amazing. I've talked about it on this channel. The thing is, I don't think he's going to win. I don't think he's going to win because I have a theory that it's the right thing to do to make him lose. Now, the reason why I say that is because the Miz and Daniel Bryan feud is not over. Remember Super Showdown when Daniel Bryan, as a face, got a quick win against the Miz? So now, Bryan's the heel. The crowd's on the Miz side. Maybe at the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view, the Miz will face Daniel Bryan. I would like to see that happen. So, unfortunately, still your WWE champion, and he will defend the new Daniel Bryan. Even though I had the video, even though I made Kofi win the belt in 2K19, I'd like to see it happen, but sorry, Kofi. I like you, but the thing is, the Miz is going to be more deserving soon enough. Now, I would be happy if Kofi won. Don't get me wrong. But I'm being realistic. I would hope they do the right thing and finally give the Miz a push. So anyhow, 2 more matches left and just confirming everything. I've done every match. Okay, so Brock Lesnar taking on Seth Rollins. I think Brock's going to defend. And the reason why I say that is they're probably going to make Seth and Brock face each other one more time at the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view in May. So, still your Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar. Makes more sense to change titles in Saudi Arabia than this one. I mean, what's the point of even having Mania anymore if they're just going to have a super show in Saudi Arabia? Now to our main event, Ronda Rousey defending her Raw belt, taking on Charlotte Flair, defending her SmackDown belt, taking on Becky Lynch. And more importantly, this is a title unification match, meaning whoever wins the match will become the undisputed women's champion. It's a winner-take-all for both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship. I like the man to win this match because I said this before, and I'll say this again. The New York metro area has a large Irish sports base. Okay? And if Becky doesn't win at this pay-per-view, something is very, very wrong here. If you watched Evolution, you saw how the crowd was into Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair match, then, you get my point. I'm very happy this match is closing out the show. But, sorry, Becky Lynch has to win. There's no excuses. No excuses. So, your new and first ever undisputed WWE Women's Champion, will be the man, Becky Lynch. And I think she's going to make Ronda Rousey tap out. I like to see it on Charlotte, but because again, her and Charlotte have more of a... Well, then again, all of them have bad blood with each other. I mean, look at Raw when they were in that fight and the cops had to get involved. But I will say this. The man will win. And a story. Now, one more important thing before we end this video is the weather forecast for WrestleMania in the New York area. And at the time the show will start at 5 o'clock, it is scheduled to be in the upper 50s, so at least the weather played out. Thankfully, the rain in the New York area will not start. I'm trying to confirm at the moment. Yeah, thankfully in New York, the rain won't be starting until 2 o'clock in the morning. So at least by WrestleMania should be over by midnight. So, yeah. Thank goodness the weather played out for WrestleMania, because I know today it's supposed to be raining here in New York, and then it's supposed to be near 70 tomorrow, and then it's supposed to be around 60 on Sunday, but I heard it's supposed to be 70 here on Tuesday, but and plus I don't want to be at Mania, but the problem is I have to go to work the next day. So that being all said, that's going to wrap up this video. But anyhow, thank you all for watching. Enjoy TakeOver New York. Enjoy Mania 35. It's going to be a fun weekend. And until the next one, please take care.